Well, I'm going to start working on this, on these sesame seeds. Like I told you earlier, I painted around them, and now I'm going to put a liquid Frisket on the sesame seeds, and then I'm going to wash over it, and I'm going to blot out some highlights in it. Now, there's different types. There's different types of Frisket you can use. Here's one when I'm masking out large areas of detail work. I'll use this, a large quantity of it, and it comes with what they call an incredible nib. You wet it down, you dip it in there, and you can cover a lot of area with this. Here's another one that comes with a very fine needle point and a regular point, and that gives you a little variety. You just screw these on the top, and then you let the Frisket flow out. Very, very fine detail work with this needle here. The one I'm going to use tonight is this one, which has its own nib on it, and it's blue, so I can see it. And really, they make a device where you can pull this off with it's sort of a sticky rubber thing, but your fingers work just as well. Just make sure your hands are clean when you're rubbing it off later, and you have to make sure it's very dry. Now what I'll do with this, and I'll show you, is I'm going to lay my painting down so that the Frisket goes on there nice and even, and I'm also going to keep it laid down when I start washing in these areas and blotting it out, because it makes the paint flow a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting this Frisket on there, and I'll show you what it looks like when I finish. This is all the liquid Frisket I put in there. As you can see, it's blue. Now you got to wait for it to completely dry. A lot of this is not dry yet. Some of it is. It gets a very dark blue when it dries. One other thing that I'll do, once it's all dry, there are certain seeds in here that need to have shadows put in them before I do the wash. So I'll go back and I'll put some shadows underneath these seeds at various places. Then I'll start the wash. The Frisket is dry now, and I'm going to go in and apply a wash. And I'm going to use this brush here, which is a 3/4 inch synthetic sable, and I'll put a little bit of yellow ochre in here when I do this wash. I'm going to blot it out with this paper towel, the highlights that I want on this. So I'm not going to talk once I get started here. I'm not going to talk anymore, and I'm just going to show you how I do it. I have to follow these lines pretty close. I don't want it to run into the background, or else it'll make the hamburger look like it's part of the background. We want to keep it separate and keep it coming forward. So I'll start with a little bit here, and I'll show you how it's a little bit how it's going to turn out. Now this paper is going to buckle, as I told you earlier, and you can see it start to run together now. And I'll blot out a little bit here, and I'll keep doing this all the way down. See how it's sort of everything's the same. I need to blot that out. I need to pay more attention to what's occurring along the lines here. This is the part where you can be quick and move around a lot. Later I'll go in and take out some of the highlights a little more, lift it out, and add some of the detail here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do this, and when I complete it, I'll talk to you later. Okay, I finished the wash. Now, I want to say something about it at this point. I'm going to leave it in this attitude, which is probably around 20 degrees angle. I am not going to use a hairdryer on it to blow it dry. You can do that, but when you use the masket or any of the liquid Friscuits, as they call them, you're really going to mess it up because it'll melt that Friscuit and it'll actually penetrate into the paper. Don't do that. Let it dry naturally, and then after a while you can just rub it off. But I'm pretty much finished with the work on this top part of the bun here. I'll go back in and do the detail work on the seeds and a little bit here and there, but I'm not going to do any more on the background or anything. It's pretty much it finished. I'm finished painting now. This picture's complete as far as I'm concerned. I'll tell you what I did since the last time we spoke. I washed in this like I showed you. Completed all this, repeating all the various colors here. And as a finishing touch, what I did is I went in and these sesame seeds here, I put a dab of gum arabic on them to give them a little gloss, a little highlight. I like things that have different finishes, more realistic stuff. And I took the remaining gum arabic and sprinkled it in here on the French fries. I'll show you the brushes I used. These are the brushes that I used. Toothbrush, wash brush, flat, long handle, a little round, that's mostly for the sesame seeds buns. Another, what they call one stroke. This short handle thing here I used to do some of the texture in various parts. Another nice flat. And of course, this one. This is a nice one. It's a synthetic one. 3/4 inch. Those are my tools. These are my palettes. These are the colors that I used. As you can see, I got a lot. I don't like using these. That's the blue in the back there. This is most of my browns and yellows. Some more of the whites and stuff. And that's basically what I use to make this painting. I'm going to end this up. I'm going to get a little close up and talk about certain aspects of this painting and how I feel about it, and then we'll conclude this. Remember when I stretched the watercolor paper? This is the watercolor paper that I stretched for the demonstration. Now, I want to critique this before anybody else gets a chance to. The wash here. If I was to do it again, I'd come in with an airbrush and I'd probably graduate the colors a little bit more. The brown part of the tray. Typically what I do when I have something that has sort of a gloss finish, particularly when the paint's on there pretty thick, I'll go back in and buff it out with a paper towel. And you can see where I buffed this out. It didn't quite come out as shiny as I want, but I stayed with it. I could have went in also with whites here, but I thought that was a little too much. The box. I don't know how it's going to come out on the film. I tried and I used a red. I had a little bit of mica and a little bit of tin in it to give it sort of a gloss color, sheen finish to it. I like the way the hamburger worked out. The wash up in here and down here worked well. Even the very darks, which are difficult to deal with, came out okay. And of course all the condiments and lettuce in here did all right. Some of the French fries I think are real good and some are fair, but generally it's okay. This brown wash here, I like it better than I did this one up here. Now the whole composition is supposed to have a horizontal movement to it. And you're going to hear them say, well, how do you come into the picture? Well, you come into the picture from the bottom here. Here's your French fries. You rattle around a lot. and then your eye. And I'm not going to tell you how to move your eye. Your eye's going to move the way it wants to move. I try to guide it a little bit with the colors here. And there's things that repeat too. This was intentional, and I'll show it to you. This curvature here and this curvature here are repeats, where I took a bite out of the hamburger and I positioned it so that it would mirror that there. That's the end of this presentation. The name of this painting is Big Mac Attacked. Enjoy.